back for the second section. And this part has to do with technical presentation. Should be presenting topic, just transition that is responsible engineering for sustainability. Ladies and gentlemen, can they help me welcome engineer Edem to do us the first presentation. Now the presentation and then the question within 15 minutes.
My name is Nerissa, and I like to be called Lady Nerison. I used to be a mechanical engineer, and then I became an energy engineer, and now I'm learning to be a transition engineer. And that's what they call it. And transition engineering is about commitment to equity and social justice in engineering practice. So I'm going to share with you what I'm learning about transition engineering. Yeah. And I'm going to look at this in the context of energy, because I used to be an energy engineer. So there are a lot of aspects about this, but I'm not going to delve into all the aspects. I'm going to be centering around energy engineering. I'm going to try to help us understand what transition engineering is about. And then Ghana has an energy transition framework, so I'll shed light on that. And then contributions of engineers, what we have been doing and what we can do more to transition engineering. And then emerging technologies, some of the technologies that are coming up because of the need for sustainability in engineering practice. Then I'm going to try to talk about some of the things that we can do in terms of ethics to support transition engineering, and a call to action for the engineers here. This is the framework that generally is being used globally. It has been developed by an organization called Movement Generation, and social scientists have been using it a lot, but we the engineers are not quite aware. So this morning I've been here and I've been hearing a lot about the need for sustainability, the effect that climate change is causing on the environment. We even talked about Galamsey, and social scientists say that all that is attributed to a system that exists for some people to benefit. Maybe business people benefiting from Galamsey, like they are saying that it's our leaders who are doing business, and that's why we cannot stop Galamsey. So it's a system that exists, and that system supports a lot of wrongdoing that is having effect on the environment. But as Ghana has signed the Paris Agreement, which means that Ghana is also trying to promote development, but sustainably. So we have commitments in terms of sustainable development. And all that fits into this framework. These people who developed this framework are saying that we are currently in an extractive economy where we use our natural resources for profit. So we extract our natural resources so that we can get profit from it. So you see that the diagram is not quite clear on this, but here is natural resource Then we use human capital to process natural resource in order to get profit. And then other things come about it. The governance aspect is here. And then how we see our current system, the overview. So we are preaching, transition engineers are preaching that let's leave this current economy or current system and join the new system, what you've been hearing, circular economy. We also call it regenerative economy, because we want the natural resources in this current new economy should be regenerated, should be able to be regenerated. So like the sun, the rate at which the sun regenerates itself is faster than a fossil fuel. So that's what we are looking at. But it's not about being clean, but sustainable and regenerative. Then we also look at work. The current work system is exploiting all of us for the benefit of some people, and very few people at the top. So we want them to make work profitable for everyone. That's what transition engineering is about. And the purpose should not be about profits or money, but the purpose should be about living well with people and then also with the planet, because that is what sustainable development is about. Try to define it. There is a framework that emphasizes the importance of ensuring a fair and inclusive shift to a low-carbon economy. Principles I've mentioned that it's about equity. So equity and social justice in engineering practice. And these principles serve as guidelines for engineers and for all people, because it's going to be a systems change and not just about engineering. The engineers have a lot of role. They've said it that we are the ones who create everything. We drive the economy by producing energy, so we drive everyone. And so we have a critical role, and we have the power to change or to drive the change that is needed to sustainability, so we don't have to undermine ourselves. How can we do this, or how are we doing this already? We are doing research and development, those in academia, of course, doing research about technologies that can promote sustainability and also curb the environmental issues that we have. And then those in the field are implementing the green technologies that the researchers are coming up with. And then those also in academia also do that by teaching. But the practicing engineers can also advocate. They have the power to advise governments more than we in the teaching field. So they can also advocate for governments to transition to green technologies. Equitable. Okay. So recently, Ghana launched, 2022, Ghana launched its National Energy Transition Framework, and followed by a National Energy Transition Investment Plan. After that, that has been recently outlawed. I have mentioned that just transition is not about energy, but currently Ghana is centering on energy, and that is something that we have to draw the government's attention to, that the transition is not just about changing the energy in the system, but it's about changing everything, trying to democratize power, making work environments conducive for people. And that also means that people who are working in oil rigs are going to lose their jobs. So what is government going to do about it? All these issues come to play. So if they have launched an energy transition framework, it's not enough compared to what other people are doing, because other people are looking at it as a systems approach, trying to support the engineers who are going to lose their jobs because of the transition. So we also have to draw our government's attention to this. And fortunately, our government has a lot of policies that can curb, that can support the energy transition framework in order to make it a just transition framework for Ghana. For instance, we have the National Climate Adaptation Policy, we have Green Jobs Act, we have a lot of climate-related policies that we have abandoned, and we are only looking at National Energy Transition Framework, and also supporting it with an investment plan. So they want to only change the energy in the system, and by doing so, some of our colleagues will be affected. They are going to lose their job. The most paid engineers are the ones in the oil rig, and they're going to lose their job. And they are going to resist. The investors will also resist because they don't want to, they want to make more profits. So we those who are on the sidelines, we have to push for sustainable engineering practices, but also we have to skill ourselves, update our skills. We should forget about the old things that, we should build on the old things that we have learned so that it can be, we can include sustainability in our practices. And some of the emerging technologies are good. Some too are not favorable at all. I haven't added the ones that are not very good to this one. Like what they are calling solar radiation management, for instance, SRM. Some scientists have come up with a technology to say that it is global warming. It is the greenhouse gases that are going up to cause global warming. So let's cover the sun so that the greenhouse gases do not reach the sun in order to deplete the ozone. Something like that is a risk that can put, it's a technology that is risky. It can put our lives at risk. So we are saying that as engineers, we should be conscious and aware that not every technology is a good one, but I'm trying to promote some of these ones that people may also be against, but I'm trying to promote them. So renewable energy technology, for instance, solar and wind. Hydro is not a very good sustainable technology, especially large hydro dams. We all saw what happened recently, the spillage that we had to undergo. It was necessary in order to save the dam. But people were affected, and these things are supposed to be for people. The energy services are supposed to make people's lives better, but if we are destroying other people's property and lives due to this kind of technology, then it is not sustainable. Then we also have a risk of unequal access to emerging technologies. And those in the Accra and Kumasi are enjoying electricity from Akosombo, but the communities that are very close to it, that are suffering the dam spillage, the effect of the dam spillage, most of them do not have electricity access. And in the current transition that we are ongoing, we want to ensure that we don't produce technologies that favor the rich or some people and continue to breed inequity within the places that already do not have access to some services. So it is, the onus lies on engineers to be able to involve people in decision making, and also remember that all levels of society are not equal. So when we are designing a technology, we should know people have specific needs, people with disabilities. Women have specific needs that men may not be privy to. So if you are designing a system or a project for women, you have to interview women, speak to women that can unearth the specific needs of women when we are designing such systems. And in terms of engineering practice and ethics, I'm not saying these are all the ethics, but I'm emphasizing what just transition or transition engineering emphasizes. So it says that we have to practice engineering in a socially responsible manner. So socially responsible means that you are developing a technology for people. It's not for the profit. So if you are developing technology for people, then it means that you have to interact with the people. You have to consider the people's needs. You have to know that what you are developing by all means will have a side effect on some people and how to manage that kind of side effect. That's what socially responsible engineering is about. It also entreats us to be stewards of technology and to not to launch technology anyhow, but technology that puts into consideration human factors, the fact that there are inequalities already in the system. Also, this morning they were talking more about the environmental impacts. Yes, we want to develop technologies that also promote environmental sustainability. When we are designing our systems, we think about reducing carbon footprint. Carbon footprint cannot be zero. That's what they say, that renewable energy does not have any carbon footprint. But if we are looking at the life cycle analysis of these renewable energy technologies, from the point of designing to the point of even fabricating the technology before you come and fix it on your roof, there will surely be some carbon footprint. But they say they are advocating for net zero in terms of carbon footprints. Then, yes, I've been talking about this, knowing that there are people, different types of social groups, and they have different needs. And some suffer the repercussion of climate change more than others. Those in Africa, we have less resilience to climate change. Even their livelihood is gone. So we have to talk about this thing. We have to put resilience into consideration, especially for the people that are already below the ladder. Examples of responsible engineering, still within, I'm not saying this is it, but within the context of energy. So renewable energy projects, this can create jobs for engineers like us. So we shouldn't fight against it. Some have been fighting against some of these technologies because they think it will take them out of the job market. We should be designing sustainable, especially mass transport. The government has this nice policy document about mass transport, but no implementation. Also about electric vehicles, but zero implementation. So let's try to promote that from our very own corner. It could be through research. If you're doing more research, you can throw light on a building. You should look at using materials that are closer to us, materials that are appropriate for our environment. For instance, people are always doing sliding glass. Everybody wants to have sliding glass in their homes. But is sliding glass appropriate for our environment? Having a sliding glass means you're going to have more heat in your room. More heat means you need an AC. AC means you need more electricity. Meanwhile, someone closer to the dam does not have access to that electricity. So let's look at some of these technologies. And engineers must lead the example. We must lead the example. We have the power. We're already driving it. We just don't know that we have the power. So we have to use the power with means that I cannot fight it alone, and that is why I'm here and I'm trying to convince you to join me in that fight. In redefining engineering to fit equity and justice and also sustainability, but not to only make decisions based on techno-economic basis. That's what we usually do. We're always doing techno-economic analysis of technology, but we forget that this technology is supposed to be for people and to be used by people. And thank you for listening to me. And I'm convinced that some of you have already seen that you want to join me. So I'm open for questions.
Oh, let's give it up to her. Let's give it up to her. Thank you, Lady Nerissa. Yes. Thank you. Now we want to take 2 or 3 questions. So, all right. Engineer Fari.
Wind and then solar. It's very fascinating. You would want to use solar. And it's very expensive to use solar in Ghana. How are we going to bridge the gap between acquisition of land for your solar, is it plant or solar plant?
Solar plants.
Yeah.
We want to take some additional questions before she responds to that. Any other?
Yeah, please, in your presentation, you made us aware Ghana has developed a framework using the energy sector. How long did this framework take to be developed? Move into the the engineering transition, like you talk about.
Thank you. So we take
Maybe let me come before this. Another civil person comes. So far, 2 civil people have asked questions. The third one, let me do it. I want to ask, before God created human beings, He created the things that human beings would depend on to live sustainable life. So human being was the last thing He created. By that time, the things that we were going to need to survive were created. The aggressive policy making without matching implementation, is it a case of not being properly educated, or is it because of politics? For example, we've talked about electric vehicle, and we know that facilities must be there to support its sustainable use. If you are moving from here to Akosombo and something happens, why will you charge the battery? One would have things are put in place before the introduction of these things. But now the things have been introduced without.
So this is the last one.
It's almost like, honestly, he read my mind. Because what I was going to ask is that we have a lot of these frameworks. If you look at the policies that we have, Ghana is quick to jump on all the policies once they come on board. But we realize that once we get them on papers, that is it. How are we bridging policy and implementation with regards to human behavior? Because at the end of the day, we do it with stakeholders, and those that are the receiving end do not get to understand what is going on. So in the end, a typical example, we are talking about sustainability. People drank water and check under the table. Behavioral change is something that transition engineering needs to look at. How would we bridge that? Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Doug Mrs. Tano. Okay. All right.
Thank you
Maybe
for
you can respond to
the contributions. I see mostly there are contributions and then you have answers already. So I'm just going to add the little one. So thank you all for contributing to my presentation. And that also shows that you have interest in transition engineering. So we'll embark on this journey together. The first question was about land grabbing. That's how I understood it, that land grabbing for renewable energy projects. How do we manage that within the context of just transition? So in terms of just transition, we've already said that we don't like extractivism and capitalism. So capitalism is the system of governance where some people benefit from profiteering. They take advantage of the transition and come up with some kind of policies like carbon markets, solar farms, and that is where land grabbing sets in. But with the just transition framework, we believe in decentralized renewable energy systems in socially responsible manner. So in terms of that, we'll not be having a big solar farm that is powering the whole of Ghana. But we believe that people can have solar energy closer to them on their building. That also means that we eliminate transmission losses. So that is how we see it. But we're not thinking about a big farm where we take farmers off their land and then come and install solar panels. And also about carbon market, for instance, because we want to promote sustainability. We deprive people of their land and say that you have to grow certain type of trees. No, that is not what transition engineering is about. Then you also brought a question to say if we have to develop a framework for each sector. But that also, the contribution came from this side to say that we have a lot of policies already, policies enough to support the transition, but the implementation is the problem. And one problem with our policies is that we make them in silos, so like what they've done now, energy transition. Meanwhile, we're supposed to use a development approach, we're supposed to use integrated planning approach to develop policies and not to develop policies in silos, to look at policy from a multidisciplinary approach that everybody is contributing. So the energy production involves water management. So it means that when we are trying to make that framework of energy transition, we bring the people who are experts in water resource management in order for them to also advise us. That is what transition engineering is about. Aggressive policy making, I think I already touched part of it, but I will say it from how I see it in Ghana. Doesn't mean that that is how it is, but from my point of view, standing at a just transition angle. And when I was joining GHI, we were encouraged to also engage in politics. So life is about politics. And then Professor Mansa, there is energy politics. Energy is a geopolitical issue. So we have to look at not only developing or designing system, but looking at how we can also politically promote the innovation that we have in our hands. It doesn't start from the top, but it starts from the bottom. We have to gradually know our way about politics and be conscious that life is about politics. Even church is about politics. I also want to say that currently technology is not really a problem about charging vehicles. You can charge an electric vehicle from your home. People are doing that in Accra. It's not a big deal to charge an electric vehicle. The vehicles are not there. If the vehicles are there right now, there will be places to charge them. So we have to work on maybe designing electric vehicles ourselves, because Chinese are doing it, and currently the Chinese are leading in terms of electric vehicles. So we also have the potential. It's not America. The Chinese are like 2.5 times higher production of electric vehicles, higher than Americans and the Europeans. So we can also do it. And yeah, so technology is not an issue. It's about the how.
Sorry. I just use electric car. Maybe it may not be appropriate one. What is appropriate for our time is the galamsey. People who were issuing certificates, were they not thinking about the adverse effects? And if the situation is becoming so alarming, don't they have the same power to kind of revoke the certificates and say, oh, let's see what happens the next 6 months? Some of these things will help your future this thing. So what we are trying to say is that the transition years, I want to suggest that as we transit, let us be seeing the end from the beginning in whatever we want to do, because we have the urge to be innovative. But at the end of the day, what problems are we going to create? Because technology comes with what? Challenges. Thank you very much.
I can't wait to see the panel discussion.
Thank you, senior engineer, for the sum up of everything. Thank you so much.
Oh, let's give it up to Lady Nerissa. Let's give it up to her. Thank you so much for responding to our call. Thank you so much. The panel discussion will be interesting. I've already started seeing it. So the appetite is rising. All right. We're going to have a second presentation. Titled Real-Time Burst and Leakage Management with Survey 123 and Enterprise GIS. And then the one that will be presenting is Engineer Solomon Dabila, that is P in Ghana Water Company Limited. Whilst we try to put the slides on the screen, Oh, no, let's show him some light. Let's give morale so that when it comes, things will flow. It's not easy. It is our own conference, and then we have to make it lively. Yeah, this is the maiden edition, so you and I have the responsibility to make it lively. Engineer, welcome. We are good to go, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
thank
good to
you.
go. I will be speaking on real-time best and leakage management with Survey 123 and Enterprise GIS. But before I proceed, it's a project that we are currently working on. I would like to acknowledge my colleague engineers from Ghana Water in the person of William, Jose, and Brian. Okay, so one may ask, why the need for this? For some time now, Ghana Water, we've been having issues with managing our best and leakages. In the instance that sometimes we report on best and leakages, but we don't really have data to back that best and leakage information that we report on. So we decided that, okay, let's create a system whereby we can be able to capture our data and manage it from our offices. So the presentation would take in the form of this. This will be the outline of my presentation. Okay, so the project, what was the project about? We wanted to enhance data collection, to be able to collect data with a phone device from wherever the burst or leakage happens. Then improve data integration. Once we collect the data, we should be able to integrate it into our systems. Then how will we create? We'll create interactive dashboards so that when we are in the offices on our laptops, we can be able to interact with what is happening on the field. And with this data, you know, when they go and collect the data, we know the resources involved. That, okay, this is where the best is happening, this is the material involved, so that we'll be able to allocate the materials for this work. So the data collection, what did we do? We used Survey 123 to design a template whereby we'll be able to collect the data, the field data. So we also equipped the field personnel with mobile phone devices on how to do it. This is how the template looks like. I hope it's clear from where you are. Can you see the template? Okay, it's too small. Okay, so from the template, we will give in, as in the key in the leak or burst reported date, the date in which the leak or burst occurred. Then they take the photo of the burst or leakage. What is the leakage on? What did it occur on? The type of pipeline, the diameter, and all that. So once they do it, they send it into our enterprise GIS. So with the Survey 123, you are able to integrate it with enterprise GIS, whereby the data that is collected with the Survey 123 app on our mobile devices is now sent into a GIS platform. So this helps us in doing what? In analyzing the data and creating of active and interactive dashboards. So these dashboards help us to do what? Monitor what is happening on the field. So with this, we are able to respond rapidly and also know the trend analysis of where the best happened because we have data on it. So as we are able to analyze this data, we then are able to track our performances in doing that. So this is how the dashboard looks like. We are currently trying to modify it. So probably after the presentation, you can bring on your contributions on how we'll modify this dashboard. So as you can see, the red dots are where the burst occurred. It's interactive. So once you click on it, you get the details of whatever happened on it. So what has this dashboard or this mapping of burst and leakage helped us to do? we are able to reduce the response time to burst and leakage. We are also able to allocate resources for fixing of these burst and leakages. It reduces the cost of operation, and thereby we are able to conserve water, because we've been fighting with the issue of non-revenue water. And when we are able to respond to burst and leakages, we are able to prevent our water from going to waste. So what are some of the challenges that we faced? You know, it's a new technology, so sometimes it's hard for people to accept it. And previously, we were having issues with our data. But with the integration of the enterprise GIS, we are now able to integrate the data from the Survey 123 into the enterprise GIS. So what are the solutions? We are looking at training all the staff involved, that's the distribution staff, on how to use this system to collect the data so that it goes through the validation processes. We are also looking at customizing the API to make it very simple for their use. So what's the outcome of this? We will increase the adaptation, improve data quality, and make workflow easy. Thank you.
Okay, so we want to take some few questions. Engineer Fari.
Because he didn't acknowledge my presence here, I want to treat him on a bad note. I wanted to ask this question. When we were in secondary school, we were using carbon, is it carbon 18 or 12, to detect leakage in pipes. Carbon 12. And it's, as at now, I don't know any kind of technology that we can use to do that. So I was asking if there's any way this technology can help us implement such a procedure.
Okay, so currently,
Can we take some few? Okay. Please, any other question? So that he will respond to all. Please, if you want to ask the question, can you raise your hand so that?
Okay. Thank you very much. I wanted to ask about the data collection process. You spoke about the dates for the leakage and also photos as input data. Are these things being collected by customers, or how do you do it? Or you are recording history of best in your distribution network?
I want to ask a follow-up question. Is this data real-time? Is it interactive for customers? Can we also contribute to it real-time? I didn't bath before coming here today because the road that they came to smoothing for us has burst the pipe in our area. There's no water, and no one seems to be aware. There's no call center, there's no app that we can communicate with you to say that, oh, we haven't had water for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. So, can they respond to these 3 questions before we take the other set?
okay. Okay, so the first question, he asks if there were ways we are able to identify best in the system. So currently what we are doing is we are currently working on putting sensors to our valves. We know we have our pipelines mapped into a GIS system, whereby the valves and the sensors communicate. So when there's a burst, it will alert us on the dashboard, but it's not yet in full-fledged now. So it's something that we are still experimenting. So Yeah, piloting. Yeah. Okay. And the second question, I don't remember the question. He asked whether, okay, the data collection process. Yes. So what is happening is that when we built the template, we wanted them to note the time. You know, we want to be able to manage the response time, whereby we know that, okay, if this was the time the best was reported. How long did it take for us to fix it? So that's why when the best is seen, a picture is taken, the time is noted. After the best is fixed, a picture is also taken to confirm that, okay, this has been worked on. Yes. And this is done on our distribution lines. And with customers reporting, we have this GWCL customer app where you can go on to lodge complaints of burst and leakages in the system. Once you report, the call center picks it up, they forward it to the distribution staff to work on it. So I don't know whether if you ever used it. The GWCL app is on Play Store. Yes. You can also pay your bills through it as well.
Engineer,
Yes. There's a section for complaints. Yeah.
I saw a hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Solo. I want to ask a question. Please, how different is this one from what Aquaviten started some years back? Because those times when I was doing my service, we went around with some of these things, trying to locate where the pipes were and the leakages and all that. What came out of it? If this is different, how are you going to sustain this? Because you cannot be wasting resources doing the same thing again and again. How are you going to ensure sustainability? Thank you.
Engineer, yes. My own is more like a contribution to your work.
Okay, thank you.
I want to bring to your attention that my department, Civil Engineering Department, Ho Technical University, we embark on some field research on your pipelines, and then we were able to come out with. We were actually looking at how the pipelines were performing, each of them. But we had a little challenge because data availability was a problem, like you are saying. So we were able to perform some few analysis on your pipe network. So maybe I will share that one with you and how you can be able to incorporate in your work. Okay, so this is more like a contribution. So I'll see you later and then share the findings with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Last one from me. I want to find out how best this system can work if in case water is not flowing. Now, why am I asking this? I quite remember some time ago in my area, tap was not flowing, about 6 inches pipe. I think somebody was digging black soil, okay? And then when water started flowing, we realized that it was leaking. I mean, it wasn't easy. But at the time that he was fetching the black soil around that area, we never noticed that there was a pipe there. It was when, I think in the morning, I was going to work and I saw the person digging. But I think the next day, and then when tap was full, before I realized that no, not knowing there was a pipe there, about 6 inches, and then the way it was leaking is very bad. So I want to find out that this system, how best can it work at the time that maybe there's no flow, but such an incident. I hope it's clear. All right, thank you. Yeah, that's the last one there.
You made mention of Aquavitas. During that time, we were not yet employed in the company, but yeah, so I'm sure what they were doing was the active leakage search, whereby they actively go on their lines to check whether there are bursts and leakages. You know, our lines are they are buried. So sometimes when you don't work on them, and some of them pass through the bushes and all that. So when you don't work on them, you are not able to know whether there's a burst here or there's a leakage somewhere. We still do it, but sometimes quarterly, sometimes monthly. Yeah. So it's still in place. So with this one, the sustainability, we've been able to get the license, and we have the mobile phone devices with the logins for the distribution guys. So it's something that I think is sustainable. Yeah. Okay, and you also made mention of how to know whether there's flow or not. So we are currently also piloting another one, that's a live demand map, whereby where there is flow, where the water is flowing to, it shows on the dashboard. Once we are done, we'll make it public. So you can be in your house and know that, okay, today there's water coming to Sokode, tomorrow there's water coming over there. Even though there's a rationing program, but it's just known to us and sometimes the key tenants. So with time, we'll make it live for the general public as well. Okay. When there is a burst without water flowing. Yeah. 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 Okay, so you can't determine the best when there's no water flowing, you know. The only thing that we'll have to do is maybe in the future we'll have to publish our maps. We'll have to put it out there so that you know that this is where our pipeline passes. So that in case of the digging like this, when you see him digging, you know that, okay, Ghana Water's pipeline passes here. So you can notify him to stop. Or if he continues, he might end up damaging the pipeline. And when there is water coming through, that's when you notice that there was a burst here or the pipeline was damaged. So without water in the system, you can't know that that is a burst. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's kindly give it up to Engineer Dabila. You have thank you. Thank you very much for doing us the honors. Thank you very much. We are preparing for our third presentation. And this presentation is titled Household Water Treatment Technologies in Rural Communities. And to do us the honors is Engineer Lordina Gloria Mains from the Department of Civil Engineering, Ho Technical University. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly help me welcome Engineer Mains to the podium.
Are you seeing the Ebo man. Is that? The pointer forward and back.
Forward and back is fine.
Forward, back.
Is it on?
Yes, on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Lordina Gloria Ment, and I'm here to make a presentation on household water treatment technologies in rural communities. And in this presentation, we will go through background justification, study area findings, and then recommendations. So we know that in many parts of the world, it is difficult to get access to safe water. And particularly in rural areas, it is very difficult to always get access to safe water. So where the pipe water is not accessible, the users depend on water treatment technologies for safe drinking water. So when I don't have water from GWCL or CWSA, then I'll have to think of ways to treat my water so that I can use it. The water is not just the one that you use to cook yam. For those who like mash kenke, you use the water to mash your kenke. So it's not a matter of I'll cook it, all the microbes will die. If you just mash the kenke, all the microbes in the water will still be in it as you consume the thing. Now, these household water treatment technologies have the goal to provide safe drinking water in an affordable and sustainable manner while being simple and easy to use and manage by users. Household or point use of water treatment as an interim measure allows households to take charge of water safety. So if you know that, okay, I'm being supplied with water, but I don't feel safe, then you can use this household treatment so that you can further save have a safe drinking water. So when effective products are used correctly and consistently, your house water technologies reduce diarrheal disease by as much as 61%, and this is statistics from the WHO. So what are these house water treatment technologies? I remember when I was growing up, we were using a well, and because it was difficult to get piped water, we had to buy a filtration system. So you have a small filter in the house, and then you fetch the water from the well, you pour it in the thing, and it filters the water so that you can drink. So that was the reason why we did this project. I wanted to know, those who don't depend on water from GWCL and CWSA, how are they able to save or get safe water? So what are these household water treatment technologies? You have flocculation disinfection, UV disinfection, thermal disinfection, solar disinfection, chemical disinfection, the filtration that I mentioned, for some of you have seen it before. And then we can have one that has combination technologies, and then the reverse osmosis. For the reverse osmosis, we realized that it was mainly those who produce the water for drinking purposes, that those who have the water business, they have been using the RO. But in the homes that we went to, we didn't see any RO. So for the study area, we looked at some 3 communities. And the water that we considered is water that is not from GWCL or CWSA, because we believe that such water coming from such corporations are clean and very reliable. So we collected samples of the water, and then we conducted interviews to discuss their use of these household water treatment technologies. So what did we find? Through field research, we identified the common treatment methods is with chlorine and alum, and they are the primary substances used by households. That's 49.1%. And the use of more advanced technologies such as the UV treatment and distillation was not found. We didn't find it there. However, most residents were unaware of proper dosage and application methods, so potentially compromising the effectiveness of this treatment. We know that if you are going to dose your water with some chlorine, you should have some residual chlorine in it. But from our engagement with them, one particular household, they mentioned that, oh, their well has the water. When in the dry season, when their well is out of water, then they will scrub the well, put the chlorine in it, and then they are good to go. So these are some of the methods they tell you. This is how they treat the water and how they use the water. Additionally, a significant portion of the households, especially those relying on the river water, expressed confidence in the safety of their water sources and opted not to treat the water at all. So we went to some communities, they had river, and they said this is the river that they like. So, and we asked, are you treating the water? They said, no, this water is good. But as we go along, I'll show you a picture of the images that we took, the sample of the water, and then you judge whether if it were you, you would take the water as it is, or you would prefer to treat the water. So despite the encouraging levels, that is, some of them using the chlorine and then the alum, there is still a significant gap in access to the safe drinking water because some communities are opting not to treat their water at all and use it as it is. So this study tells us that we need to continue our efforts in improving water quality and increase the access to household water treatment systems and promote their effective use. Not just give them the water treatment, not just drill the wells for them and tell them, oh, this water is good. Just take this cup, measure this chlorine and pour it in it. And then after 3 months, repeat. After 3 months, repeat. We should try and then teach them exactly what to do, and then also so that they can, promote their effective use. What do we recommend? We recommend that we should have improved water expansion. We know that for CWSA and GWCL, they are doing their very best in these areas, but we urge them to continue in that regard. And then also we should create awareness campaigns and educational programs to promote household water treatment use. Because the household water treatment use is just beside you. If you are unsure of the safety of your water, you can just easily get this household water treatment and then use it to treat your water. Thank you. So I'm done with the presentation. But these are some of the water samples that we came across. So this is the river, and then these are some samples that we took from the wells and all that. But then this is the one from the river. This is the water. So I'm sure they are just judging on the visual. Oh, it's not so dirty. We can just use it for their use. So I'll just throw you the challenge if you are living in this community, would you just use this water, or you prefer to further treat the water before you go ahead and use it? And this is some who are kind enough to show us the treatments that they use, which is the chlorine. And then these are some wells and rainwater harvesting, the sources of water that we investigated. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mens.
Yeah, thank you very much. A nice presentation. I want to ask, I know some time ago, Danida used to teach these communities how to treat water. Did you find out if those methods are still being utilized? That's number one. Number two, did you take samples from rivers and springs, which are self-cleaning, to see their level of cleanliness with figures? Because if you do water testing, you should have figures to know. Did you do that? Okay. And how are they comparable to WHO's standards? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Please, I want to find out whether the concentration is just on the sources of water, or we are thinking of how they can treat the water at their receptacles. After fetching the water, it can be polluted along the way from the source to the point of consumption. So are we just thinking of how to teach them how to use the purification? What's the name? The chlorine or the disinfection method only at the sources, or because at times some of them fetch water in a bucket, just leave it. Birds come and land on it, drink water from it, and go. But the person is not coming back to treat that water in the bucket before going to use it. Or sometimes the polytanks, the lids are removed. There was a video where monkeys were dancing in people's polytank and the rest. So how do we encourage people about the safety of the water that they fetch? The source may be a point, but in the end, it's the place where it is being kept before being used. That is, for me, it's also a concern. I think of late, there are simple tools that they can just use to test their water before consuming, maybe once in a day or once in a week or something. So you can think of that one too. Thank you.
Engineer Chair. All
right. My name is Mariana Ahiafo. I'm from Dambai. Please, In Dambai, our welcome address or welcome to Dambai Ejisu is a typhoid. And I don't know how we thought it because of the food, but it's not the food. It's the pure water also is causing the typhoid. And you say you will be treating the waters for us. So I don't know how they do it before giving the certificate to people who are producing the pure water for us, especially Dambai. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I also saw in your study area Tokokwe just in a flash in the map. I presume that some of the samples of the streams you were showing are from Tokokwe. You spoke about they using chlorine. Have you considered data from their clinics to check how, maybe because of NOMs, how the disinfectant byproduct may be affecting babies and all that as well? But yeah, it's okay.
Okay, engineer, kindly respond to. You can go ahead and respond.
Okay, thank you very much. Sir Charles, for the chlorine, it was mainly detected at the places where they have the wells. Okay, so for those who use the river, they told us that they don't treat the water. They use it as it is. But it would be good to follow up at their clinics to check on the health records. If any of their illnesses is related to water, then we can take the research from there. Okay. And also the Dambai for the pure water, all members who produce water go for certification to produce the water. When I mentioned the reverse osmosis, it is a particular treatment, okay, for Francis, hardness, right? The reverse osmosis is for hardness. What? What? Salinity, hardness. Okay, so the arrow that I mentioned is treating one particular property of the water. So if the water is salty, then they will use the reverse osmosis for the water. Okay, but with regards to the typhoid, I think we just have to come there to also check, because one time one of those who make the water also proposed that it's because of how we handle the bags of sachet, and then also concerns were raised on the expiration date that they write on the bag, because they say 3 months after production. When is the 3 months? The date of manufacturing, you search on the rubber, you never see it. So they know of some of these challenges, okay, but we'll visit Dambai and then we'll do further search for you, all right, and make the conclusion for that. Thank you very much. And yes, how some diseases can be transferred from the source of water to the homes, even before you drink the water. I mean, we may have introduced some pathogens along the line, even before we drink the water. So that one, yes, more education will have to go into that. So for our research, we concentrated, or we centered mostly on their use of the water treatment technology. If they use it, if they are aware of it, and if they are aware of it, how are they using it? So that is where the study centered on. But we can also take that up as further research to know the use of the water as we take the water from the river, bringing it to the house, and then after it gets to the house, before we use it to cook and all those things, to check where we introduce such contaminants to the water for us to get the pollution or contamination in the water. And yes, for the previous studies that has been done by Danida, you said Danida, right? The washing, the taking care of water. From our interactions, or maybe based on the questions that we asked, we didn't explore that. We didn't ask if they've had prior knowledge on how to treat their their water on their own. We didn't ask that. But we were very expectant to see some local technologies. Like we're expecting that they will bring out maybe a sieve or something to show that this is how we treat our water before we use it to cook or to do other things. And from our interactions, none of these came up. So we have not assumed that they don't have any prior knowledge. We just take it that they don't want to treat the water, for those who told us they don't want to treat the water. And those who treat the water too, they are treating the water but are not treating it or they are not following the best practices in treating the water. And the water quality, no, we didn't test the water quality. We didn't test the water quality. So maybe our friends from GWC, when we come to the office to test the water quality, yes, we beg.
Okay. So with the Dambai issue, usually FDA will direct all sachet water producers to come to either. Oh, okay. So that one is beyond me. If if you bring the reagent, then maybe we can negotiate. But that one there, it should be in the office. Yes, madam, I'll talk to them. All right. Okay, so with the Dambai issue, so usually if you are buying a sachet water, you should just check for the FDA number on it. You see FDA dash some numbers there. If you don't see it, it means it hasn't gone through the right process. And not just in Dambai, Volta region, a lot of producers are okay, so if you check and you don't see any
Please, I want to ask, those who are giving the certification, do they have a monitoring system that once a while they go around to check on this sachet water people? Because way back in 2012, when I was conducting my research in Ejusu, Japan, I happened to buy water from people. So the one that I buy, I intentionally pick some to the lab. And you realize that though they have the FDA number there, there's still some contaminants in it. So with me, when I'm drinking sachet water, I need a brand before I'll drink. Do you go on random checkups for some of these things?
Okay, so I think last year, the FDA director, that is Volta region, we were trying to collate all the analysis we've done in the past 3 years. So even though you're already in the system and you are producing, when you come to us, we have a system where we can track all the producers who have come to us for analysis. So we generate that report for FDA so that at least we recommend that once or twice a year, every sachet water producer should do some form of disinfection and then cleaning of the facility so that you bring your water again for reanalysis. That's just for the microbiology, so that we issue another report for you so that you can go ahead and do your production. But I can't speak on that with FDA, whether they have been doing the monitoring. But I know for sure they have been doing the monitoring. But how consistent it is, I don't really know how it is. But I know they are, at least they are doing something. Yeah.
Thank you. Where? Oh, sorry. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello. Yeah, thank you very much. Mine is more of a contribution or a sensitization. It looks like, from the discussions, a lot of responsibility is on we, the consumers. The utilities, GWCL, CWSC may be doing their best to expand their lines and provide, good water supply. But then, we as consumers, we also have a responsibility, to check what we are consuming. Aside that, looking at the presentation, you would realize that a lot of people are doing things in the name of what? They are trying to treat their water at home. The presenter mentioned that some of them are not treating effectively. Sometimes in the process of, I'm adding chlorine to my water, it's better to maybe even drink the bacteria than drink what we call disinfectant byproducts. Because when your water is not clean and you add chlorine to it, you're actually producing another class of chemicals which are even more toxic than you having the diarrhea. And even aside that, people are buying naphthalene balls in the name of what? Alum. You understand? So I think that this is a platform that we also use to just sensitize all of us that as we want to treat our water at home. Some of us have boreholes at home, poly tanks, we store water, we want to add chlorine and all that. It is just very important to check and be sure that we are adding or dosing the right quantity and dosing to the correct quality of water. You can't have water that is brown in color and you add chlorine to it. You are actually killing yourself. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Engineer Mens. How have you done? Oh, let's give it up to Engineer Mens. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's interesting, and I like the contribution from all angles. To balance the equation for us, we have Mr. Divine Elemausi from Electricity Company of Ghana, who is presenting on earthing, grounding in homes. So now the equation is balanced, madam. Yes, please. So the equation is balanced.
Thank you. Earthing is a very broad topic, but my presentation is going to be limited to only domestic earthing or the home earthing. Yeah, somebody may ask why earthing. Earthing forms an integral part of our installation or our wiring system, and that is the security, and for that matter as such, the protection for our wiring system. So in my presentation, I'll be touching on what is earthing. What is the purpose of earthing in our homes? How is earthing done? Who is qualified to earth your house? How to test for earthing values And how do you know if your earthing is properly done? Then I'll come to the conclusion. In Ghana, every year we lost a lot of properties, including government installations, our public market squares, individual houses, and then even human lives through electrical fire outbreak. And this is as a result of improper installation and earthing also as part of such an incident. What is earthing? Earthing is defined as a process in which the instantaneous discharge of the electrical energy takes place by transferring charges directly to the earth through low resistance wire. What it means is by creating a low resistance path for a faulty current to flow to the general mass of earth. Importance of earthing. Earthing protects people from electrical shock or electrocution. It provides an alternative low resistance path for current flow during faults. It reduces the risk of fire and damage to equipment. It improves the performance of an electrical system. And also it prevents accumulation of excess current and static charges. Types of earthing. We have the T, N, and S earthing system. That is the neutral and then the earth conductors are separate throughout the installation, providing high safety. We have the T and C and S. That is the PME system. That's where the neutral and then the earth are combined in the supply line, but split within the consumer installation. We have the TT earthing system. The consumer has an independent earthing system separate from the supplier's earth. And then the IT earthing system. The neutral is isolated or connected to earth through high independence with separate consumer earth. The T is a French word, mean earth. The N stands for neutral. The I stands for isolated. And subset of these configurations can be defined using the values S, which means separate, and the C, which means combined. The T and S earthing system. The T and S earthing system is used for several reasons. This enhances safety. The T and S earthing system is used for several reasons. It enhances safety. The separate neutral and the protective earth conductors ensure a direct path for fault current, minimizing the risk of electric shock. It's reliable for fault protection. Faults in the system are easily detected, allowing circuit breakers and fuses to operate effectively, cutting off the power when necessary. Prevention of interference. Since the neutral and then the earth are separated, there is less risk of interference or voltage fluctuation that can affect sensitive equipment. Stable voltage levels. It maintains voltage stability throughout the electrical system, which help in protecting appliances from damage. Effective for larger installation, ideal for complex or larger buildings where multiple electrical systems require reliable grounding. Component of earthing system. We have here on the screen the F electrode, or what we normally call the F rod. It's the conductive element buried in the ground, providing a low resistance path to discharge fault current into the earth. And in the middle, we have the earth wire, or the earthing conductor. This conductor is normally a copper conductor or copper cable that connects the electrical installation to the earth. electrode, ensuring that fault currents are directly or directed safely into the ground. And at the extreme end, we have the F bonding straps. That's the metallic conductors or straps that connect metal parts of electrical installation. Example, like the metal pipe works, our metallic conduit boxes, our metallic main switch boards, and others to the earthing system, ensuring that no dangerous voltage develop on exposed metal waste. These are some other components in our main switch or the distribution board. That is what we call the F bus bar. It's a common connection point where multiple F conductors are bonded together before being connected to the main earthing system, often found in our distribution panel or our distribution board. Then also, these are F pits. We can see the F electrode being buried in the soil, and the cable or the F conductor connected to the tips, the upper tips of the electrode. This physical location where the F electrode is installed, often with a chamber of cover for inspection and maintenance sake. How to install earthing system? First, you have to select the top quality F electrode first. Choose the best quality earthing electrode. This can be a copper rod, copper strip, or copper plate. Second, determine the location. This is where it's very crucial. How do you determine this location is good for earthing and this location is not good for earthing? Okay. Based on the size of the ground, soil resistivity, and then the local regulation, determine the position of the earthing electrode. That is, we talk about the soil. We do what we call soil resistivity test, which normally our roadside electricians mostly don't have those equipment to test to know that this particular type of soils is good for earthing. This particular type of soil cannot be buried. If you want to bury it over there, you need to treat the soil. They don't have this thing. But with the experienced people, you need to do those tests, which is the soil resistivity test, to know the suitable place to do your earthing, or where you do the excavation for the burial of the earth. 3, prepare the ground. To install the earth electrode, dig a hole in the ground. The hole should be of the same length as the electrode. As the electrode. 3, install the electrode. Place the F electrode or the copper rod into the hole. Assure that the electrode is in direct connection with the ground. Then, lastly, you backfill the hole with a suitable bucket fill material, such as bentonite clay or mixture of soil and salt. Now, the salt is no more advisable for the usage. Yeah, there are a lot of chemical compounds that we use for the installation of our burying of the earth. The reason being that the salt contains chlorine, and it's very acidious. So what happens is, with time, it begins to chop off the connection between the copper cable or the F conductor and that of the F rod. Before I realize, it will cut off. So you are thinking your earthing system is working, but meanwhile, your system is no more earth, because there's no connection between the circuit protective conductor, which is the F conductor, and that of the F electrode. Connect the electrode in the earth to the main distribution board using an application or appropriate conductor. Choose the conductor, and choosing the conductor you need experience to choose the type of conductor to use based on the size of building and then the components or the gadgets involved in your wiring. The wiring size you need to know, and the size of conductor to use when burying your earth. the F continuity conductor from the main distribution board to the F electrode. Ensure that it is buried underground or installed. Connect the conductor, make a secure and light connection between the F continuity conductor to the main distribution board and the F electrode. Importance of regular maintenance. Ensure safety. Regular inspection and testing of earthing system. It means you have to continue to provide a safe path for fault current, reducing the risk of electric shock. 2, prevent equipment damage. Proper earthing prevents electrical surges and faults from damaging electrical appliances, ensuring they function correctly and then prolonging their lifespan. Maintains system efficiency. Regular maintenance ensures that the earthing system resistance remains low, which is vital for the effective operation of protective devices like circuit breakers and fuses. It reduces fire hazard. Poor or faulty earthing can cause overheating and electrical fires. Regular maintenance helps detect and correct issues before they escalate. Compliance with regulations. Electrical safety code standards often require periodic testing of earthing system to ensure compliance, ensuring legal and insurance obligations are met. Regular maintenance or inspection improves reliability. Properly maintained earthing ensures the continuous safe operation of electrical system, preventing power outages or dangerous conditions in our homes or workplaces. Regular earthing is crucial to ensure ongoing safety, protection, and operational reliability of our wiring system. How to test for earth value in your home. We have 3 methods over here. We have the lamp test method. The lamp test method is for, how do we call it? A roadside, how do we call it? Those without the equipment or the F tester. What we do is you connect your bulb with the lamp holder, which is the 2 cords, the live and neutral. The live and neutral, you connect into your circuit. Sorry, the live and then the earth port. You connect the one side to the live port, and then the other side to the F port. The bulb should give you a better illumination. If it is this example, this fluorescent tube, the illumination should be high as this. If it is high as this, it tells you your earthing system is functioning very well. But if it is dim, it tells you your earthing system is very bad. If it is, let's say, a honey hole, it tells you your earthing system is somehow, it's not perfect. The multimeter is an instrument that we use to test the earth. It's an instrument. And then the F resistance tester. That one is also another instrument. Normally that's what ECG, that's what we use, the F resistance tester. It has a, how do you call it? The machine itself, the voltage injector, voltage and current injector. It has a 2-cord with spikes. So with appreciable distance, we drive in the spikes into the ground. Then we inject voltage and current by Ohm's law, which says that voltage over current will give you your resistance. By so doing, we test to see if whether the F that we buried, really the resistivity of the F is very low or high. If it is high, that is why we employ the soil treatment for the ground. Who is qualified to earth your house? This is a big question. Who is qualified to earth your house? This is where the problem lies. I'm a layman and I've contracted somebody to do a wiring for me. How do I know that per what the contractor has done is rather actually conform with what is required? It's very, very crucial. That's why Energy Commission has come on board now. They are training our electricians to be of standard, and they have certified them. So now they are educating us that when we want to do our installation, we should contact those certified electricians to do our wiring system for us. Or if they are done with our wiring system, other people are done with our wiring system, we should contact them to come and check our system to see whether the wiring and then the earthing system conform with the Wiring Regulations Act. How do you know if your earthing system is properly done? First, check the voltage when the leads are inserted to the live and then the earthing port, as I said earlier. If your home has an earthing, then the reading should be the same. Okay. The reading should have the same as or within the 5 values of the first reading you took. If your outlet doesn't have an earthing port, then it isn't connected and does not have earthing. If the reading between the live and then the earthing port is close to 0, then you don't have an earthing system at all. So this is about domestic earthing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Divine. We want to take some few questions, if in case. Okay.
Thank you. Please, I've seen 2 types of earthen rods. There's one shiny one, and then there's one with a dull golden color, like the actual color for gold. What is the difference between the 2?
I saw a hand up here. All right.
Thank you very much, presenter. I would like to ask, in our homes, how many earths are we supposed to have? And also, which type of earthing is the best for our homes?
Thank you. Any other? What?
Yes, my name is Xavier. I want to know the millimeter of rod that is good for earthing in our homes.
All right. Please, you can now respond to the question. Okay.
So I'll start from the bottom. The milliliter of F-rods. Well, on the market, we have several dimensions of, sizes of F-rod. So, but I will advise you that, or advise the technician that the F-rod should be of a quality type. The length actually matters, but it doesn't matter as such. Why am I saying this? Because even when you talk of earthing, the depth of the hole, sometimes the more you go, the higher value, the ohmic value you get. If you want to conduct a soil resistivity test. So it doesn't guarantee that the height of the rod, though it matters, but it doesn't really technically confirm that if the height is too low or too long, too short or too long, it will have so much effect on the earthing system. For instance, somebody can choose to use a 3-feet F-rod, which is of low, quality material. You know, nowadays in the market, you see them with a copper-coated F-rods. They are aluminum, but with a copper-coated. You might think the height because it's long or something, but if it is of a high-quality material, it's far better than the height. Please, if I may understand, you were asking how many types of, or how many kinds of earthings do we have in our home, right? To my best of knowledge, it's one. If, let's say, there are equipment we call extra low voltage equipment, which are electronics, gadgets, and all those things. Their earthing system is different from low voltage equipment. So when you have a such gadget in your house, you are advised to separate those ones from the normal low voltage appliances. Yeah, it's advisable. I think you know the reason why. You are an electrical engineer, so I don't have to go further. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love this question. Yeah.
A lot of people don't get, they don't get it when they say you are supposed to have only one earth. You see somebody in one house, they will have so many, they have connected a lot of the points to different parts of the house. I know that you are supposed to have only one. Okay, you are supposed to have only one. You are supposed to have only one neutral point, and you connect it to the ground. You can do an improvement on that particular earth.
Exactly.
But don't go and connect other portions of the building or other portions of the system to another earth. You go to several places, and then these are some of the minor things that are leading them to have some high bills and other stuff. When you tell them, they don't understand. That's why I'm asking these questions, so that maybe they can know. Thank you.
Thank you, too.
A follow-up to the response that you gave. In a house that they are having separate meters, I want to find out whether that one too, we're going to have a common earth, or you can have your separate earth.
If you have separate meters, it means that you are supposed to have separate, yes, you are supposed to have separate earths for them. But you go to some houses, they have separate meters, but they have one earth. It means that you are not protecting the other meters. You see, maybe somebody has built a house, then the person has the mother meter before other tenants came in. Then they've given them separate meters. But they've connected all these systems onto one earth. You are supposed to separate all the meters. They are supposed to have different electrical systems. So you add them one by one.
Hopefully in our next AGM, prepare some presentation for us.
Thank you. I am Engineer Emmanuel Bani. I have observed some things about the effing these days. One being the F-rods. The F-rods. I had I would say an incident. A colleague of mine brought an F-rod to the shop. I held the F-rod, and in my hand, it was heavy. So I asked him, is this the right F-rod? He said, yes. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. I said, okay. We are going to carry out a test. If it proves that that is the right F-rod, I will pay. He said, why? So don't worry. And I went to my office and picked a hacksaw, and I cut the F-rod. I saw that it was a milestone coated with the copper. And second one, I observe these days, these scrap dealers, they are going around cutting people's F-rod. at our place, HTU mechanical department, the F-rod is gone. The thunder arrestor is gone. My house, we have different F-rod to every apartment. One part of my tenant's F-rod, the wire, the thunder arrestor to the F-rod is gone. So my question is, what measures are the ECG people putting in place to avoid those anomalies or those incidents? Thank you.
To these thunder arrestor rods. To him. Oh. All right. Oh, okay. No, he asked the question. So I didn't follow. Oh, okay. All right. So whether there's an alternative for thunder arrest. All right.
Mr. Divine, a follow-up question on Engineer Bane's question. Whether there is another alternative for the thunder arrestor. Whether we have another alternative for it. Then we take the last one.
I think the problem with arresters being stolen or earth rods being stolen is not the only menace. I think now if you have a pipe outside your home, they will come and remove the big tap because it's brass. They will take it away and go and sell. If you have water meters, they will remove it. There's a copper metal in the meter. They will go and melt it and take it away. I think this is a wake-up call for us as engineers that when we are manufacturing, we should think of what to use so that the people don't end up damaging our effort. Whatever we have done to get to that level, as for them, they will just come and remove it, and then they are gone. As my director rightly asked, what are the plans for ECG to actually change those type of rods or whatever they can use? If there is none now, then please be thinking about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Chair. The last one here, then we bring this section.
Thank you. Based on my brother's question concerning the fake and the original materials, how are we going to know that this electrician that is coming to fix my earthing for me is a qualified electrician or not? Sometimes some of them have the certificate, everything to prove that they know their work. But they will buy you fake things. How are you going to know? And my second question is, where are they bringing those things? Is it flying from the air or from the port? If the government said use quality things, and today those fake things are entering the country, who is allowing that? Thank you.
Thank you. So that, all right. You have your mic there.
Okay, thank you. You were asking whether those things, the fake F-rods, if ECG have a measures in place or have anything in place to, how do you call it, protect that from happening. The answer is no. It's just unfortunate to let you know that even ECG, our F-rods, our F conductors, our lightning and all those things, thieves are they are stealing it on daily basis. So now some of the places, let's say the southern sector like this, we are using aluminum instead of copper. Our earth conductor that we run from our arresters, the angle bars and all those things that we bury, they'll go and cut it and take it out because it's copper. So ECG can't control the market. How do you call it? Those are business people bringing in those things. ECG doesn't have any power to control the market. I think that's why we are here as an engineers to have a basic knowledge about some of those things. So that you'll be very careful whom to contract to do a wiring for you. So that if the person is trusted, then you know that the person will not go and buy inferior material to do your work for you, whereby tomorrow you'll be facing a challenge. With a tender arrestor, it's just unfortunate that they can climb to that height to remove the tender arrestor. The tender arrestor have its work is doing before the earth also have its work. The arrestor arrests and give it to the earth. So if the arrestor is not there, it means a function is being taken off. A part of the protection is being taken off. So arrestor is very, very needed before the earthing as well. You were asking, how do you know whether the person going to do my work is qualified to do the wiring for me or whatever? It's true. Nowadays, we are to ask if whether you are Energy Commission certified electrician before giving work to the people. So they must produce their document to show that they are really a certified. If you have a challenge with that, come to ECG. We have the name of our contractors, those who are certified and being assigned to the various districts to work with ECG. They will give you a qualified person to do your work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Divine. Oh, please, let's give it up to him. Thank you very much for the presentation. And I want us to give a round of applause to all our presenters. As a matter of fact, when we send the information out that we need people to present here, they responded. And please, let's give it up to them. These are maiden conference, a maiden edition. And each and everyone who is making efforts for this to be a history, please, let's give it up once again. Engineers, let's show some love. Let's show some love. All right. So we are getting to the last section, which we're going to have some panel discussion, brief one. Then I learned our lunch is ready, so we're going to have this one very brief, and then we quickly go in for our lunch.
Bring one.
Responsible engineering. Responsible engineering
For sustainability in a world of emerging technologies.
Thank you. This afternoon we're going to have our final section of the technical presentation that has to do with panel discussion of our team. Responsible engineering for sustainability in a world of emerging technologies. And the panelists that I have here, or who have responded to make this a success, can they help me welcome Engineer Dr. STK Jokoto, Reverend, from Ho Technical University. Thank you, Engineer. Welcome. I also have our chairperson, Engineer Antoinette Aguado. Rain or shine, she pulled her weight for things to be made. Despite the challenges, Engineer Chair. Wizard. Oh, let's give it up to our only chair. We also have Engineer, she prefers to be called Lady Nerissa. Just transition. Oh, please, let's show some love. These are maiden edition. And this is going to speak volume of what we'll be holding next year. Thank you. Last but not the least, engineer surveyor Edu Afari. Okay, engineers, you are all welcome. And thank you for accepting our invitation. Today we want to briefly look at our theme that has to do with responsible engineering for sustainability in the world of emerging technology. During the engineer leading the research presentation, I saw some interesting things happen there. And without not going much, I think a lot have been said about the topic already, or a lot of definitions have been given. But my very first question will go to Reverend Engineer Dr. S.T.K. Jokoto. Reverend, it has to do with ethics and responsibility. Ethics and responsibility. A lot has been happening. My concern is that how can we engineers balance innovation with social responsibility in the development of emerging technology? Looking at ethics and sustainability, how we can balance that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start this way. Ethics has to do with behaving in morally acceptable way, putting society first in all things that you do, your client, your professional organization, and your employer. You make sure that whatever you do, the name of those people that I mentioned are not brought into disrepute. What do you do to protect the interests of society? What do you do to protect the interests of your clients, your professional body, and your employer? That is very key. So if we are talking about responsible, if we want to be responsible in whatever we do as engineers, we manufacture things, structures, roads, buildings, whatever, pressure vessels, which undergo serious stresses. So whatever you do, you want to make sure that you do not produce anything that brings about disaster. So as an engineer, there are standards that we follow. There are standards that we follow, rules that we follow in design to make sure that whatever we produce meet all the standards and safety policies. When that is done professionally, you make sure that you can be sure that whatever you design, you manufacture or produce will last for a very long time, and it will be sustained, or it will be sustainable. So what I want to say is that as engineer, whatever we do, we have to take the society into consideration, which must be socially responsible in our professionalism, to make sure that we do not manufacture or produce anything that is disastrous to society or humanity. Thank you.
I'll be coming back to that because it's something that matters a lot, or that's something. In your presentation, you did mention about a lot of factors or a lot of points here. My concern here is that what role can emerging technologies play when it comes to addressing climate change, and promoting environmental sustainability?
Thank you. The existing technologies are good and we quite using them well, but there are emerging ones that seem to be improved, which means that they have worked with time and they've identified that there was something wrong with the previous technology and then they've introduced a new type of technology. And mostly this new type of technologies are driven by data and AI, which is quite interesting because it reduces, first of all, waste in the system. That's the first part. And before, when I know that before we were designing things by experimenting, by putting the things together, and then after that we see that it doesn't work, then we go and change, then we come back. But currently we have computer-aided design. So before the thing even comes out, you have already made, you have designed it, you've tested, you know the kind of stress, the pressure that it can take. So we have to use AI. We also have to use data well. And then in terms of sustainability has 3 pillars. So we have the economic part of it, the social part of it, and then the environmental. So we have to consider all that part when we are choosing an appropriate or emerging technology. I also did mention
Thank you very much, Lady Nerissa. My next question will go to our engineer chair. Since you happen to be the branch chair, which equally means that you are with national. I mean, so in terms of governance and regulations, my concern has to do with how best can we establish standard? How best? Because we say we have this standard, we have this, but at the end of the day, when things happen, we have a lot of blames are coming, a lot of blame. So how best can we establish standards so that in responsible engineering practices, things will be well with us, things will be okay? How best? Thank you.
Thank you, too. I think with governance concerning practice and standards, it is true, Ghana Institution of Engineering is there as an engineering body governing everything. But we have another organization called Ghana Standard Authority. So the engineers check, but the standard authority,
Far away from them.
they give approval to the things. Like somebody was saying that there was an earth rod which is just okay. Standard board is supposed to give approval to such things before it is found on our market. Unfortunately, as we just talked about ethics in our society, we are supposed to hold on to our ethics, because it is not those who don't know what those materials are meant for. If it is at the blind side of the engineer, then we can blame the engineer, or we can blame whoever is doing the work. But here is the case, like Engineer Bani rightly said, he went to test. He didn't buy. Somebody brought it. Because of our Kalabule method, excuse me my language, allowing inferior goods to find its way in our market, which is very difficult for the institution to control. Controlling this is a national menace. It has to involve the customs, the immigration, everybody who are at the border section to prevent them from bringing this type of things into the country. But we as engineers, when we see something that is fake, we should quickly try and not use it, but resort to using the correct ones. There are rules and regulations on governance of materials or fake materials in the system. What do? How do you know? Until somebody tests and see. You can say it, like you rightly said, people are even talking about pure water. They can do a particular batch that is good. They'll present that to you for your permit. You grant the permit, they go back, they do the substandard ones. How do you check it? So if we have the engineers at those places, they are supposed not to have a bent on their ethics. They should make sure they do the good quality of work. I was just telling somebody that now if you want to buy iron rod used to have one size, one standard. But now we have 20 mm, we have 18 small. Meanwhile, they are all referring to the same size. So who in Ghana can stand up for this? Because the standard board has given them approval for it. Is it you, the engineer, who is going to use it? If you reject it, then next time they will not produce it and let it be on our market. So we all have a role to play in organizing our systems, our place of buying things. If you know this place, they don't sell good quality things, you can avoid them and go to other places. But still, the problem lies on us. Because if there is a building that collapses now, they will surely come back to the engineering center. Meanwhile, when they were given approval for that building to be built, they've not consulted the engineering center. So it's a big and a critical issue, but with time, I believe we will conquer every problem. Thank you.
And that is, one is what I'm about asking Engineer Fari, and the other one is the one I said I will be getting back to Reverend on that. Engineer Fari, Engineer Chair did mention that how best can we do this? How best? So that brings into mind education and capacity building. I wanted to find out from you, since you are coming from the academia, how best engineering education programs can incorporate responsible engineering. How best can we incorporate? Yeah, thank you.
Some of these things, I don't see it from the education angle. I see it from the attitudinal angle. Because, you see, of course, students can't go to school, they are taught, they come out with certificates and all of that. Not thinking of what they have achieved in the school, the shaping, the uprightness and all of that. They don't take those ones into consideration. The element of teaching to write exam is for you to prepare towards the kind of work you are going to do. Everyone can do any kind of work. You can, excuse me to say, you can train a monkey to do any kind of work. But there's this aspect of the human system that has to be trained, which is the attitudinal concept. The attitude of the individual, if it doesn't come out well, he can go and do all the work he wants to do, it won't go on well. So the iron rod you are talking about, it is an initiative for someone to get more profit, which is attitude now. So he knows the right thing, but then he's not going to do the right thing. The books are there. You can open the books and read whatever you want to read in the books, but it is the attitude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Reverend Jokoto, back to you. We've been talking about let's say if it is 2,000 cities that can work, honestly 2,000 can work. And then another person will go into the same contract that he will be assured that what all things being equal, it is 2,000 that can do the work. 2,000 can do the work. But another engineer will go for the same work, probably the one offering the contract says that I will give you 1,500. You want to do it? But honestly, it is 2,000 that can do your work properly. Now, a colleague engineer of yours will go for the 1,500 work. Now, at the end of the day, like the roads and stuff, at the end of the day, they will be blaming the engineering body. But we have code of ethics in our engineering company. The act is there. Reverend, I want to ask, we all all go through this as engineers, when we have these ethics and stuff in the act, the Engineering Council Act. What is still the issue that you as maybe Engineer A of GHIE wouldn't go for this program because you want to maintain the integrity of GHIE, but your own colleague who is also part of the same institution will go for it, tarnishing the image. How then can we handle the sense of accountability?
I think that in every profession has ethics. If you go to health, wherever you go, we have ethics. So the issue of policy implementation that comes up again in every professional ethics. There are punitive measures, well written in black and white, which is meted out to anybody who goes contrary to what the code of ethics says. So I want to say that sometimes it boils down to cultural practice. And I will give you an example. I remember way back 2000, between just before 2000 or 1990, 2000 or just before 1998 to 2000, when I was doing my master's, I had to do something practical. So I went to buy material. Do you know what the person who was selling the material told me? When the thing was, let's say, 10 cedis, he was asking me whether he should write 20 cedis. So if I were to say yes, he was going to collect 10 cedis, but he was going to give me a receipt of what? 20 cedis. Why was he doing that? So that next time I could come back. So this one hasn't come to politicians yet. It hasn't come to the professional bodies yet. But it's an issue of the culture we have inherited or we have nurtured. And this is what is happening now. This is what is happening now. And the situation is worsened by dirty politics.
Okay. All right.
No, when I say politics, it's politics. Engineer, when he was presenting the thing, even she said that even in our own home, we impose the type of food that our children will eat. It's a kind of politics. So when I say politics, I'm not talking about party A, party B, politics. And you see, sometimes my presentations should be pardoned because I'm a minister. I cannot say anything here as a reverend minister engineer. When I get to the pulpit, I'll be saying different things because this time I'm in chapel. No. Whatever I must say here must be the very thing I must preach when I'm on the and that is what ethics is all about. Ethics is making sure that the right thing we all accept that is a right thing. We should just be seen to be doing it in order to preserve life. Okay. No matter what, we should not value interest, personal gain above ethical issues. And that is what we, all of us, must be looking at.
Okay.
So let us understand that we have unfortunate situation where we have a culture. I don't know who initiated it. Nobody can be blamed. It's a culture. Even in the church, we struggle. When we preach holiness, we struggle to see people practice holiness. Because they are operating in a culture which is porous. So once we talk about ethics, let us also accept the fact that we have inherited a culture, or we are in a culture where truth, we struggle to speak the truth. But to cure that, we should be seen to be implementing the very thing we write on paper. If I go contrary to what we all accept to be ethically right, if I go contrary against it, the next thing is that I must be punished. If my professional certificate must be withdrawn from me, it should be done. If that is what is written in the document, it should be done. But until we get to that level, until we get to that. We are all talking about what? Galamsey. It's a huge ethical issue. It's a huge ethical issue. And if we want to go into it now, people say don't go there because very tall politics will come into it. There was who watched TV recently. There was a village, I can't remember the village. They were going there, the whole village is against what? Galamsey. Who saw it? I think yesterday or 3 days ago. Even the chief was saying that they gave him initially 250,000.
Yeah.
He said no. 350,000. He said no. 700,000. He said no. How many communities do we have in Ghana to behave like that? That is what we should be getting to. So if we are talking about ethics, things like that, the things that community did, that is what we should be doing. So that is what I want to say. We should be committed to the very thing that we think that they are not good, they are good to be done. We should be committed to it. That is why we have whistleblowing. If you are in an organization where the organization is doing something wrong, which is ethically wrong, as a professional person, you need to blow the whistle. And when you blow the whistle, the organization has no right to sack you for reporting them. The things are there, black and white. So it's a cultural something. If I want to go further, politics will come in, which politics will come in. But the fact is that the culture is worsened by our politics.
Thank you very much, Reverend. I just want to know the future direction and opportunity. You coming from the energy transition, okay? I wanted to know which technology do you think holds greatest promise for sustainability in your area? Which of the technologies do you think some promise is there?
As a transition engineer, I'm not supposed to decide for people to say that this is the technology that has greatest potential, because we have different types of communities and their needs differ, and therefore what may be appropriate for community A might not be appropriate for community B. The kind of energy that will fit in the context of Ghana might not fit in South Africa. But for now, a lot of research has been done on the feasibility and profitability of solar energy in Ghana, and that seems to be the way that we are going. But I'm not defining it as the most appropriate.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had with me Reverend Engineer Dr. STK Jokoto, the action man, results. And then our own engineer chair, Engineer Antoinette Aguado. We've also had, I've had with me Engineer Laurentia Nerissa Edem Anku, Lady Nerissa for short. Then we've also had Engineer Surveyor Edu Afari, right? And I've been the moderator, Engineer Anodumenya. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our Thank you very much for making the maiden edition of Branch 6 conference and then AGM and then the panel discussion also a success. Thank you very much for coming. All right.
Thank you. Yes. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them once more. Let's clap for them once more. Let's give a bigger one to all the presenters. All the presenters. All the presenters. At a point in planning, we thought this session was not going to be. But I can say it has been very fruitful. And there are so many things that have been ignited. And then I want to believe that we'll take them up and see how we can make the world a better place. Thank you very much. Thank you, Engineer Arnold, for moderating the session very well. Now we are breaking for lunch. We'll have lunch a conference hall beneath this one. So we go down and then we'll access the conference hall where we'll have our this thing. There are coupons. So when you are stepping out, the registration desk, there are coupons there. You pick one for yourself, and then we will go there. After the lunch, it's now 2 o'clock. After the lunch, we want to close early because of the dinner. So let's make lunch in 30 minutes. Is it possible? Is it possible? Or 50 minutes? Okay, when we get there, we'll see. But as early as possible, let's come back, and then we have the AGM, and then we will be done. I want to remind you again of the dinner, 7:30 p.m. right here. I don't know. After lunch, we will tell where we will have the dinner. But if it may be the same where we are going to have the lunch. They say it's dinner dance. So you come with your dancing shoes as well. Thank you very much. Let's pray for the lunch. Father, we thank you for how far you have brought us, even as we break to refresh and gather enough strength for the rest of the day. We pray that you sanctify our food and make it to be able to nourish our body and give us the necessary energy to carry us on. We thank you in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.